From Chicago's Little Italy neighborhood, good afternoon. My name is Mark Skazafave. I'm the Director of Music Ministries at Old St. Patrick's Church in Chicago's West Loop neighborhood. This year we're celebrating 175 years as a faith community. It's a community that started with Irish immigrants and continues to be a center point of Irish culture and celebration throughout the year. I've been a component of the music ministry there since 2006. And it truly is a beautiful, vibrant community. The church itself is adorned with beautiful Celtic stenciling, stained glass windows befitting a museum, curved wooden pews, straight marble lines. It's a beautiful, brilliant, pastel, bright church, and the people that fill it are equally engaged and participatory. It's a beautiful place to be on a Sunday morning. You can see why so many people want to get married there. And we do. We have a lot of weddings. Many. On March 21st of this year, things changed. It was the beginning of a new normal in a way that we encounter our wedding ministry in a different way. So today what I'm going to talk about is a little bit about how we do weddings at Old St. Pat's in normal times, how we handle the volume of weddings that we do and hopefully do a good job. And then I'm going to pivot and we'll talk about doing a wedding ministry in COVID. I'm going to focus on three things: ways to engage with couples and families, participation, and a little bit about communication. So like I said, we do a lot of weddings, about 125 to 150 a year. And it's not a bragging point. It's just kind of a fact. But that volume, to me, is a driver for efficiency. And it's kind of forced us to be better, smoother at what we do. In fact, what I like to do is pretend that we have about 300 weddings. And if you behave that way, you can kind of help your operations scale as if you were doing more. So if you're not doing, depending on how many you do, it doesn't matter. Pretend you're doing more, and it will help you. Perhaps there's something from what I share with you today that may apply to the way you do your ministry. One of the things we do is a wedding music fair. I know we're not alone with that. Many people do. It's a chance to bring 200 or more people into the church. I narrate the evening. I talk about the wedding liturgy from a music perspective, from prelude to postlude. I have about 7 or 8 cantors, a string quartet, flute, trumpet, and a trio of traditional Irish instrumentalists. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful concert, but it answers a lot of questions for people. And for me, it means I only have to answer those questions once, and it gets people off on a consistent footing. Before I was in this job, I was a technology consultant for 12 years. And so part of that is just the way I'm made is always looking for ways to improve things, improve the way we run. The first thing I did is created a website that was just for weddings. And that website has all of our information, our policies, our guidelines, our repertoire, our cantors, but it also has a way for you to digitally engage in our wedding music fair. You can essentially participate in it virtually. The other thing is having a central repository for weddings. Have them all in one place, no matter how many you do. If they're in one place, I have just a fancy Google spreadsheet. But not only can you see when things are paid or when people are assigned, but you can start to identify trends, you can see what's being used, what's not being used, and it can help you be more nimble and more relevant as you proceed in this wedding ministry. I mentioned a repertoire. Having a repertoire on a website has been very helpful. It allows you to have one single source where people can see what you offer. And I think it should be a wide range of stylistic offerings. This isn't a time to push people down a certain path. This is a time to make people want to be married in your church. So having a wide range of music is very helpful. But if it's centrally located, people can see what's available to them. One helpful thing is if you want to add to that repertoire, or I guess more relevant, if you want to take something off of your repertoire, you can easily do it because you've got one place where people go to look and choose it from. Sing to the Lord, paragraph 218 says, since oftentimes the only music familiar to the couple is not suitable to the sacrament. The pastoral musician will make an effort to demonstrate a wide range of music appropriate for the liturgy. Appropriate for the liturgy is not my favorite phrase, but I think that sells the couples a little bit short. I have a lot of people that come with inspired, beautiful, creative ideas. In fact, I take some of them and add them into our repertoire for weddings. Some of them I add to our Sunday repertoire. I think there's a lot to be learned from people that are looking to get married in the church today. And maybe the first response is not, no, you can't do that. But maybe I can learn from them, in fact. That said, not everything's suitable. Not everything works. I get that. In those cases, lean on your policies. Have them available, perhaps on a website, but have them somewhere where you can point to them and say, here's why. And if you're trying to sort of pastorally guide people down a certain route, one of the things I do is ask them to relate their music to the sacrament that they're about to enter into. They've picked readings that they feel speak to them. How does their entering into a God-love situation, how does their embodiment of God's love, how does that reflect in the musical liturgy that they're offering their guests, virtually or in person? Now, on March 21st, things changed. But it was helpful to have all of these things in place because it kept us nimble and it kept us able to respond. So enter wedding ministry during times of COVID and a pandemic. Our church community has been around 175 years. We've been through more than one pandemic. But it's always different, and being able to respond is so important. It's been a rescheduling mess. One reschedule, two reschedules. I've had multiple weddings rescheduled 3 times, many just canceled altogether. This is one of those times where if you operate like you do 200 weddings, think about yourself that way, and then cater your processes and your technology to that. And then for however many you do, it will help you be a little bit smoother, a little more able to replicate what you offer to couples all year long. Also, this is a chance for us to say, hey, this is a great reason to get married in a church. Because families and couples are going through crazy things right now, having to reschedule plans they've had in some cases for years. So what better place to encounter a new reality or a flexible reality in a church that's equipped with a professional pastoral staff? And we can offer that. It's a great reason to get married in a church. And I just hope that all of us are taking advantage of what we can offer people. Now, some of what I've done is, of course, limiting resources for some of these weddings. And it's not saying you can't have this, but it's saying we want to be part of your wedding in a safe way. So maybe your string quartet and trumpet, we're going to pare down to just a string trio and maybe no woodwinds or brass. And we're going to sing with masks on. I don't know what it's like for all geographies and dioceses, but we're going to sing with masks, and I want people to know that. I've converted to electronic payments. Here we are in this season of creation. So not only is it a nice reduction of paper, but it's also less contact. And it's a more flexible way to meet people where they are. So if you have professionals that you pay, I know there's hoops to jump through, but it's worth investigating, having electronic payments for those that perform their ministry at a wedding. Because of some of the changes in repertoire, I've also increased our offering of instrumental music. Having more string options, more trio options with a piano can be just more flexible in meeting people in the situation that we're in right now, that maybe their instrumental music will speak to them more. And of course, without the spoken or sung word, maybe there's some more flexibility you can offer them as well. Speaking of an offering, a live stream offering is very important. So as I'm thinking about these things and these ways to engage families and couples, having a live stream offering, even if it's not the live stream product itself, Facebook, YouTube, even somebody just capturing the video with the phone and then offering it, there's lots of ways that you can make the couple feel like they are part of something bigger and not just getting something done because this is the only way it can be done. It makes them feel like they're part of something larger around them. The people that they love are participating with them. So to that end, also have a digital worship aid available. I know that worship aids have there's a different perspective on those depending on the rules in your various regions. But having a digital worship aid means that if you are watching it remotely, you can participate fully. And you can respond, and you can sing to your heart's content at your kitchen table if that's where you are. Back to Sing to the Lord, paragraph 217 says, "The church desires that a person's wedding day be filled with joy and grace. When preparing the liturgy, pastors should address any concerns with the couple with due pastoral sensitivity and sound judgment." I think our need to engage in a pastoral way is only more important in these times. We all know about the pastoral judgment and the musical judgment and the liturgical judgment. Perhaps this is a time when we reinvigorate the pastoral and the music judgment and make sure that we're offering people something that meets them where they are. I talked about participation. That's the second part of this. Let's be honest, participation in pre-COVID times, a wedding might not be where you send people for the epitome of congregational singing, but sometimes it is. Either way, the wedding guests, attendees, the assembled faithful are there for a reason. I like the line in Laurie True's A Place at the Table that says, to witness and worship. They're there to witness and worship. And so the dialogic responses are all the more important, especially if you're in an area where singing is not encouraged or even allowed. Don't make them feel bad about not being able to sing, but encourage them, perhaps with a worship aid, or with your presider, or with a discussion that you have with them before the wedding. Some of the rules are changing in terms of what things look like before a wedding starts. And if you want to have a conversation with them, or if you want your presider to say, hey, these are the things that I think will really help our engagement and our participation in this beautiful sacrament. So those spoken responses are very important. One of the things I've done, which kind of extends the boundaries of participation, is offered to just record a medley of the music for their wedding and send it to the couple or their family. It's not hard if you have the ability to sit down and perhaps improvise a little medley. In many cases, these couples don't have the ability to have all of the music they wanted. They're having to cut back things, they're having to shorten things. And if there's a piece that you could offer or just record, I think it would go a long way to making them feel like you are ministering to them in a time when maybe their wedding isn't going to look like they thought it would. Thirdly, communication. Set expectations with the families and the musicians as best you can. Families, what we have, of course, guidelines and directives from the Archdiocese. The language is very specific. I wouldn't call it warm. But what we've done is we've recast that into a letter that couples can share with their families with some softer language. It makes it more hospitable. But you want them to know when they're coming into the church what to expect. That seating is going to be distanced, if that's the case, and masks are going to be worn the whole time. Make them know that in advance so that they feel welcome when they get there and not surprised. We have medallions, we have other things to make it easy for them in the church. Medallions on the floor. Ours have a little 175 on them for our 175th anniversary. But ropes, things to clear areas where they shouldn't go. If you have the ability to make an animation, we have an animation that shows the communion flow. Anything you can do to help their expectations for what the wedding will be like. You want it to start joyfully. You don't want to get off on the wrong foot because somebody doesn't think they need to wear a mask or whatever the situation may be where somebody wants to sit or can't sit. With musicians, communicate with them. Urge flexibility. Remember, we minister to our own people that come and perform at these weddings. Urge flexibility with them. We stopped having woodwinds for a while. There are other things you can do, but make sure they know that you're going to be safe in the way that you perform your music and perform your ministry. It's a difficult time for families. And it's a time when our ministry asks more of us. Wedding music ministry. Sometimes one of those three words kind of elevates in importance depending on what we're doing. Wedding, music, ministry. In this case, let ministry be a priority. Let the ministry part of that shine. It's an opportunity to work smarter and not harder. It's a chance for us to meet people where they are and do things differently. So just a few concluding takeaways. Communicate your expectations with people. Operate as if you have much more volume, scale down, and it allows you to grow. Use technology and lean on it with people who are better at technology perhaps than you are. But digital worship aids, live streaming weddings, electronic payments, and then web-based resources. Whenever you can, share these with people. Your policies, your repertoire, whatever it is, and keep things in one place so you can keep track of them. And finally, add joy. Add joy to the day. Certainly don't lessen it, but use this as an opportunity to meet people where they are. Use this as a chance to bring people into your church, into your community, into your ministry, and add joy. Good luck. God bless you in your ministry.